Hey Caveman News, it's your astrologer Cindy. I have a quick message where I'm going to give a New Year's resolution for each sign. Aries, do something selfless for someone else. Taurus, let someone you care about win an argument. Gemini, do that thing you've been putting off because it takes too long to do. Cancer, make some fun plans with friends and don't cancel. Leo, get a therapist. You don't have all the answers. Virgo, try to delegate and let someone else make the decisions on how something should be done. Don't accept and appreciate it the way it is. Libra, stop gossiping. Scorpio, try to just let something you care about happen as it will without trying to manipulate the other person. Sagittarius, do something lame and boring that will make someone you care about happy, like having tea with the old lady next door, or sending a card to your mom in the mail. Capricorn, take more time off this year. Schedule it now. Aquarius, schedule some volunteer work in the community. Pisces, use some tried and true system to improve your deficits. For example, being late all the time or drinking too much. Happy New Year!
Welcome, welcome, and welcome. Let's get this thing going. Oh, wait, I should turn this off. I should put on my glasses. It's episode 55. Here's the man who will never be taken alive. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Pepito. Hold on.
Yay.
I forgot to cue up my
Hello,
applause. Here we go.
everyone.
Whew. What a adventure to get that one started. Everything broke just as we began the show, but we made it. We have arrived. It's episode 55. Oh, hang on. We have the extended applause break. I love when that happens. This is for you, Pepito.
Right. Thank you, so true, sir.
You're the best.
She's the baddest of them all.
Pepito, welcome to season 2.
Episode 1. Bonnie and Clyde.
For sure. 100%. Let's see. Do I have? Okay. Yep. Everything's good. Everything is good to go. And so, Pepito, do you know
Yeah.
what 25 divided by 5 is?
5.
Okay, so 2025, we are doing episode 55, and this is the 5th day of the year. I mean, someday they're going to have to give us an award for the best planning, the best. I mean, there are a million awards they're going to have to give us. I don't think anybody presses more buttons on a stream. I don't think there are more index cards. Do you?
No, this is the one with the most.
Absolutely. Okay, so it's time to play the music. A new thing we're doing here in season 2 is instead of a beat every episode, we're going to be playing a standard theme. And this theme is one that Pepito and I recorded. Did we record this in Las Cruces?
No, the temple. 2007, 6,
Wow.
6.
So this
6.
is 20 years ago almost?
It
Jesus.
is.
Brother Bink says, if this show gets best planning, I'll eat my hat. Glad to be here. And that's the strategist talking.
Don't eat your
Zoom
hat.
in one more level on my chat so that I can see it perfectly. But yes, we have the new theme that we will be debuting right now. And let's kick off this episode. There's so much to do tonight. And gosh, my eyes are really bad tonight. Let's see what's up. I gotta read this card. Okay. He tooled up but could not hide. The deputy sheriff got kidnapped by Bonnie and Clyde.
Faced an almost insurmountable struggle when he returned home.
Oh, sorry. I had the microphone off. I threw that card and Cobra went running after it. Cinderoni says, "What a great jam!" And Pepito, I think that was a great jam.
Dude.
Okay, Soy Teresa says, "Get real." All right, that's slightly hurtful. Pepito, welcome to the year of the snake. You excited for this one?
The snake represents wisdom.
God.
It's
Quote,
a classic clip.
quote Soy Teresa. All right. We have a million things to get to on this episode. This is stacked. There is so much to talk about with Bonnie and Clyde, but I do have one quick aside I have to get to before we begin the show. So, early last year, I purchased a book on Kindle, an e-book, and it was called, I have it right here, Mean as Hell, The Life of a New Mexico Lawman by D. Harkey. And the thing is, my vision has been failing like crazy. I really can't see much at all. And so I didn't read much of this book,
Yeah.
because it takes me forever to read things. I have to make the font all big and get in there with my magnifying glass. But I found out last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, that I could make my phone or computer read Kindle books to me, like computerized voice.
In
And I was
Sean
like,
AI's voice.
Yeah, it's similar to that. But I mean, Sean AI is real and it's not a text to speech program. It's legitimate. So hang on. I want to make sure. Okay, got that. Perfect. So I finally got around to getting into this book. I haven't scratched the surface very much. And I thought this was a great little excerpt. And it was so good, I had to play it on the show.
I grabbed the barrel. He shot 3 times at me, but didn't hit me. I had on a meat apron, and on the 3rd shot, I pushed the pistol down and the bullet went between my legs and blew the apron up over my face.
Funny.
Just really liked that one. That made me laugh. Picturing it, the apron flying up over the sheriff's face. That made me laugh. I thought, oh, that's funny. I'm going to screen record that and bring it up on Caveman News. And you know what? I did it. I said I was going to do it, and I did it.
You did
Then
that.
And then I laid back down and I continued letting my phone read the book to me. And then this excerpt happened.
I ran him probably 2 blocks and he ran into a gambling house. The house was lit up and I saw that this man I was chasing was George High. High was a faro bank dealer in this gambling house, which belonged to Kemp and Lyle. Kemp was the sheriff of the county. When I got up close to High, he begged me not to shoot him and threw up his hands. I couldn't shoot him while he was begging me with his hands up, so I took him over to the train and made him leave town. He went to Arizona and later was killed there. Dave Kemp was sheriff of Eddy County, and I was to have plenty of trouble with him later.
Jesus.
Wow.
That fucking
So
Kemp.
sudden Kemp appearance. And it
Mr. High.
seems divine intervention that I would suddenly get around to having that book read to me. And within a chapter of starting, all of a sudden there's a Kemp reference. If I would have, heard or seen that when I started reading it at the beginning of last year, I would have had no idea who David Kemp is. So don't you think that's miraculous? I do.
Oh yeah. And then George High. What a cool guy.
Yeah, George High. But I like how it says that he's going to have more encounters with Kemp later. I stopped reading there because I thought, if I read on right now, there's just going to be more Kemp shit that I'm going to have to put into the episode, and I don't have time for that. So I'm going to wait until we do an episode, and then now I can continue. But that was the one aside I felt like I had to get to. And Pepito, it's time to officially start the show. What are we? Gosh, we're only 17 minutes in. This is pretty.
I just noticed your PR Leva track sweater.
Yeah.
Ooh la la.
I actually was not on the PR Leva track team,
Ooh la la.
but I got this from a friend of mine named producer Nico. She gave me this. Apparently she was fast or something. Maybe she's I don't know.
I ran.
I'm not sure she could beat me, but we'll see. Pepito, it's time. We have to get into the story of the time that Bonnie and Clyde kidnapped the sheriff of Carlsbad, New Mexico. But to start things off, we have to do our new tradition. I have to remove my shoes in honor of Barrett, the first man who was executed in Carlsbad, New Mexico, who said that he wanted to die with his boots off. So I want to remove my boots really quick so we can start. And while I'm taking them off, would you tell people what you've learned about Bonnie and Clyde because you told me you've seen a documentary or two. Will you tell us about it while I remove my shoes real quick?
Well, one of them. Well, there was a story about one of Clyde's first criminal activities where him and a buddy of his were caught with hot turkeys. But he didn't go to jail. But also, he had a lot of brothers and sisters, like a family of 7.
Well, I mean, yeah, you don't have to tell the whole documentary. More just like, what's your feel? Because you were not familiar with Bonnie and Clyde before this, correct?
A little bit, but not as much. And I love them. I think they are a cool couple. And I think they were driven to a life of crime by the unfortunate circumstances of the times and not being willing to just submit to a boring life.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, I had that opinion kind of, but hearing the story we're about to hear really cemented that in my heart. So boots off for Barrett. Let's start this fucking thing. Let's see what oh yeah, got that. Every time I throw these cards, Cobra goes running to try to catch them.
Every time I look around.
Every time I look around. He had too much brothers. Okay, Pepito. Are you ready to read some for me?
Oh, you know it.
I'm telling you, this morning I woke up and I put on my glasses.
And you got a gun?
He had too much brother. He had too much brother.
Oh, sorry about that.
Too much brother.
I forgot it was plugged in.
He had too much. He did have too much brothers.
For shedding hair.
But if you visited Carlsbad Caverns, you've left something behind.
We really have to get. I'm not kidding when I say I'm not sure we're gonna have enough time to get through everything tonight because there is so much to get to. So we do have to move on. Yeah, let's get things started.
Clyde also had sisters. Marie.
For sure. Absolutely. Okay. I don't know that much, but we're here to talk about the time that they kidnapped the deputy sheriff of Carlsbad, New Mexico. And I was about to say, when I woke up this morning, I was reading my phone in bed and I could see clearly the text and everything. And I thought, oh my God, my eyes are getting better. But then by noon, it was gone again. And now I'm really messed up. I say that just to say you're going to have to do some reading. Here we go. Let's start.
Carlsbad Curtain Argus, Wednesday, March 17, 1965. By Joe Johns. Very few people have the doubtful pleasure of reading their own death notice, but I did. This is my story.
Okay. So this is Joe John's story. Here's where it starts.
I was a deputy sheriff in Eddy County, New Mexico. It was Saturday night, August 13th, 1932, about 8:30. I was at the supper table with my wife and son Charles when the telephone rang.
Oh, good for you.
She told me about two.
Sorry, I should. Jesus, I should say. Yes. So he gets a call from this lady. And this is what she said.
She told me about two boys and a girl, her niece, who had come to her place on Thursday, 2 days before, and were acting in a very suspicious manner. I suggested that we find the sheriff and investigate, but she said, no, I don't want you to say anything to anyone. I want you to handle this. Mrs. Stamp was very nervous and almost in tears. I told her to go on with her story.
That seems weird to me. Why wouldn't she want the sheriff? She just wants the deputy sheriff.
She knows what's up.
Well, then again, we've learned a little bit about the sheriffs of Carlsbad, New Mexico. So maybe she knew that they weren't to be trusted.
That's Mary. That's Clyde's sister.
What? Oh, that's Clyde's sister. Hang on,
she's gone now.
Okay.
When they arrived at our place
Jesus. That's not the right one.
She told me about two.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, she told me about two boys and a girl, her niece, who had come to her place on Thursday, 2 days before, and were acting in a very suspicious manner. I suggested that we find the sheriff and investigate, but she said, no, I don't want to.
That's the one you already read, isn't it? Sorry.
I just like reading about them before they're identified as who they are.
Right, which we're going to get into.
When they arrived at our place on Thursday, she continued, they wanted to wash some clothes. The clothes were very bloody, and I saw in the papers where an old man and woman were murdered and robbed near San Antonio, Texas. I'm afraid they had something to do with his murder.
Wow. So the aunt is a snitch. And yes, here we go.
Got out of my car and walked to the Ford and was looking it over when a girl came out of the house and walked over to the car. We started talking. I asked where she was from, and she said, oh, we're from Nacogdoches, Texas. We bought the car there.
Nacogdoches? Is that? I don't know the proper
pronunciation. Cool name.
Yeah. I don't know if I've been there, but I've definitely heard of it.
Sounds So you're from Nacogdoches? I said. Just how do you spell that name? Why? Well, it is hard to spell, isn't it? She stammered. She chatted some more and then said, I'll let the boys talk to you when they finish breakfast. She went back into the house and I have to move this thing. Let's see, where is it?
And
I stayed outside.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's his first encounter with Bonnie.
She was only in the house a few minutes when one of the boys called me. Come to the door, he said. We want to talk to you. I went to the door nearest me, but it wasn't closed. Come over here. He called from the other door. A boy without a shirt was standing inside the pantry opened door or the partly open door. My bad. My thing was in the way. Sorry.
No. Don't apologize.
I'm very imaginative.
I'm allowed to laugh.
Next, you go. Shish. Oh. So Teresa broke it down.
Yeah, the pronunciation.
And by hot turkeys, I meant stolen.
Yeah.
It's
for sure.
Cinderoni.
I'm sure that's what they meant. Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah, when she said in the chat, Cinderoni, she said, hot turkeys.
Right. Here we go. Wait, that was the one we just did. All right.
When we get dressed, we'll be ready to go with you, the shirtless fellow said. I didn't see anyone else, but later they told me the other boy kept me covered all this time with a shotgun. Ooh.
All right. It's getting kind of, interesting.
Dicey.
Yeah, things are heating up here at the farm with Bonnie and Clyde. Here we go.
I turned and walked back to the car. I had raised the lid of the trunk and was reaching over the spare tire when someone called. I jumped back and a shot was fired at me from the rear.
Jesus.
The bullet passed near my head. I could feel the wind from it. Reaching for my gun, I whirled around and Bud was standing about 30 feet away with a revolver which had jammed. Ooh.
Okay.
Bad for Bud.
Now, let's see.
Not my Bud.
Bud. Okay. Now, here's an explanation. He kind of, I'm sorry, but Joe Johns, this sheriff who is deputy sheriff who was kidnapped, is not a great storyteller. So are you okay?
No, I just heard something pop.
Oh, okay. So he started calling them Bud and everything. So here's an explanation on the names.
I just knew them by the names. I was to hear them call each other. Bonnie, Parker was called Sugar or Shug, Raymond Hamilton, Bud, and Barrow, Jack. That is the way I will refer to them in my story.
Why? Why not just call them what their fucking names are? I don't know. I guess he thought he was being creative. Like,
oh, Clyde taught himself to play saxophone. He liked instruments.
Hell yeah. See, I did not know that.
Yeah, I did. I learned that. I was like, hell yeah, he's cool.
But yeah, so he's not going to call them by their actual names for the rest of this story because I don't know why. I can't understand the mind of a lawman.
It's easier to spell, less letters.
Yeah, exactly. Bonnie has too many letters.
Shug.
And Clyde has a silent E. So, jeez. Here we go.
I grabbed my gun, but a second shot was fired, again from behind me, and something was poked in my back, and a voice said, "Drop that gun." I turned my head and was looking into the bad end of a sawed-off shotgun held by Jack. The 45 in my back was being held by Shug. Jack ran around to the front of the V8. I turned to face Shug, and she started backing up to where Jack was standing, still pointing her gun at me, so I followed her. She stopped beside Jack. Bud was...
Oh, I don't know why I cut it off there. Sometimes my cropping is not great. I realized that when I was putting this together, and I apologize.
Description is so descriptive. It's like a Tarantino movie.
Absolutely.
Get in that car, Bud ordered.
Wow. Okay, so right away they are taking the sheriff on a trip.
While we were driving back to Highway 285, they removed my Stetson hat and put a little white cap on my head. We reached the highway and turned south towards Pecos, Texas. Pecos.
So they put a little white hat on his head. That struck me as very unusual.
Well, wouldn't the Stetson hat make it look like a cop from a, I don't know, with like a ball cap?
Okay, but then why
Yeah,
put a little white hat on him?
just look like any other person in a car with people.
But wouldn't he look like a non-sheriff without a hat? Like, I don't know. Maybe in the 30s, if you're not wearing a hat, that is considered suspicious.
Oh.
So, good thing they had a little white hat.
Good thing. Take another road, I begged them. Well, never get to El Paso alive. I know a lot of officers in El Paso and several Army officers from Fort Bliss.
Wow,
He's
bragging.
connected. He knows people.
He knows all the sheriffs and army mans.
I knows people who knows people. Jack stopped the car. Are you trying to lead us into a trap? He asked. No, believe me, I'm not. I answered. The Army'll have men on this road before we can get around the point of the Guadalupe Mountains. El Paso is the first place the sheriff will call.
Wow. Okay, so they're on their way.
This is a good place to kill a sheriff, Jack said. I could feel Bud's gun pushing harder into my ribs. I looked Jack straight in the eye.
Wow.
Ugh.
And again, he's telling this story in 1960. He's very brave. I wonder if he was that brave, or this is just. I mean, this is
embellished story.
This is
of
like
heroism.
3 decades after Bonnie and Clyde were murdered. So
He's probably
who's
crying
gonna,
though.
Counter his story?
He's crying and begging the whole time.
I'm sure.
Please.
Oh wait, that's it.
I can show you a better place than this down the road. There's
Better
always
place
a
for
better
killing the
place
sheriff.
for murder. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet Teresa says he's a real clout chaser.
That cop recognition. Where's that place you were talking about being such a good place to kill a sheriff? He asked.
Yeah. I mean,
it's the sheriff killing place.
That's very, it's very helpful of Deputy Sheriff Joe Johns. And,
well, I mean, they have famous lynching trees in Texas. Why not have famous sheriff killing spots in Texas?
I'm sure. Maybe I was about to say, well, maybe I shouldn't say what I was about to say, but let's just move on.
But we're the fucked up, dangerous stream. Maybe you should.
Dangerous and fucked up. Yeah. Well, I was going to say maybe there should be more places. I mean, hey, come on. Get a life, everybody. What did you expect when you tuned into this stream?
Yeah. This isn't the Disney Channel. But here's where we'll show you how to whip the law, Jack said. Hold tight. We're going through. The little white cap they'd put on my head started to bobble up and down. He pushed his foot down all the way, and we whizzed right through those 4 cars. So fast that I couldn't see anything. I never knew whose cars they were or what they were doing there.
I'm really worried about his little white hat.
It's bobbing. Ugh.
God, what if it falls off?
I know. The 3 of them started gabbing in some strange tongue. It wasn't Spanish because I can speak that. It was something strange, but I listened hard and somehow got the gist of what they were saying. Or
what do you
I
think
said gist.
That is what it means. That's
I
what
got
it
the
says.
Drift. It says drift.
Whatever.
I keep moving this stupid control thing. I moved over.
Fuck it, man.
There you
Who
go.
cares?
We're all good now.
We're good. But so he claims that they were speaking in a language he didn't understand, but somehow he understood it.
It is like
I'm telling you, Joe Johns is embellishing. He is not. I don't trust him, and maybe it's just.
I couldn't see whose cars those were. Because I know whose car every car belongs to.
Absolutely. Joe Johns.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, Cinderoni says, "Get real." Absolutely. Soy Teresa said he is an odd storyteller. Absolutely. And
It's because you're lying.
I always in my head I'm like, okay, I'm gonna present this story and I'm going to try to be unbiased and just present it as it is, but I can't hide my bias. I think this sheriff is full of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
They
don't know
all
why
were.
you would make up the part about them speaking in some crazy
It's not
language,
Spanish.
but he understood it somehow. Like he has some fucking mental superpower or something like that. I
Hmm.
don't know. Or maybe it was Spanish similar language. Whatever.
The three
Oh,
of them
that's I already did that one. Here we go.
The three of them talked things over and
Oh.
agreed.
Yeah.
That if they could spot a Buick with one man in it, they'd give me the Ford to go home in. What?
Yeah. Doesn't that sound pretty nice?
Yeah. What a like.
We're
what?
just talking about how Bonnie and Clyde were not as awful as it is portrayed to be. And here's an example. I think Big Sip. Yeah, I think that's very kind to say if we find a Buick, you can take it and leave. That's pretty nice. Why is that button not working? There we go.
I turned and walked back to the car. I had raised the lid. Wait, we read.
Wait, what? What is
Wait,
going on?
I had raised the lid of the trunk and was reaching over the spare.
Wait, that's not. Okay, I hit the wrong button. Here you go.
If you'd give us 30 minutes or more, that would be okay with us. With a start like that, nobody can catch us. I had nothing to lose. Okay, I'll give you that start. I agreed. That was what I said, but what I intended to do if.
Yeah. He's full
Ooh.
of shit.
Now it was dark and we were moving fast again. We slowed down and pulled off the road in front of a hot dog stand.
Ooh la la. What do you think of hot dogs?
Sure, they're okay. I don't like learning how they're made, but I don't mind eating them when I'm hungry.
I
And
think
if
they're
cooked.
I don't know. I'm not a hot dog man.
Okay. Got any hot dogs? Sugar yelled to the kid behind the stand. Nope. Any cigarettes? Nope. Well, go to hell, she yelled. And we were off again. We still had plenty of cigarettes. Sugar and I were the only ones smoking. Wow, Bonnie's cool.
She kicks ass.
Go to
But-
hell.
The hot dog, they pull up to the hot dog stand. Got any hot dogs? No. Well, then what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, you just got hot dog flavored water.
I guess. Okay.
Oh, write-ups and pictures of Bonnie Parker that I read and saw later always pictured her as smoking cigars and wearing red dresses.
Hell yeah.
She smoked nothing but cigarettes all the time I was with her, and her dress was a sort of bright flowered print. Aw.
Okay, so then it obviously wasn't her. Not a red dress and no cigars. Yep, that's a good thing to include in your story, Joe John.
Yeah.
Fucking weirdo. Why isn't
Boring ass
that
sheriff?
Oh wait. What the hell happened? Okay, I got off track.
I had to.
You's a fool, baby. What's wrong with you, man?
Who's saying I'm
Sick.
a fool?
No, the sheriff.
Oh, him. Okay.
Jack drove along until we hit the outskirts of San Antonio. We were speeding along Commerce Street when we saw two motorcycle cops heading for us. Jack turned around and the race started. Sirens were screaming, and I thought, sure, any minute bullets would begin whistling, but Jack managed to give them the slip. Oh,
He's
man.
talented. This is not Clyde's first. I hate that he calls him Jack.
Yeah.
Like, I kept reading this and I was like, wait, who's Jack and who's Bud? And honestly, I can't even remember what Bud's real name is, even though we read it just a moment ago.
Like people not calling Rusty anymore.
Oh God, that's a controversy that we don't have time to dig extremely deep into, but the Carlsbad caveman mascot is called Rusty. I'm not.
Oh,
What?
Cinderoni said something really nice about Soy Teresa, that she could pull off red dresses and cigars.
Oh.
Oh, you too, Cinderoni. You too
Hey.
can pull off red dresses and cigars.
2025 goals. Let's get some red dresses and cigars.
Oh, you've had a few hours of it now, she said. We get 365 days of it every year. She walked to the front fender, her gun in her hand, still watching Bud and me. He was asleep, but jerking and moving. I could see why that bird would have bad dreams.
What the hell? Shut up, Joe Johns.
Bird? Jailbird,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, so he's writing this in the 60s. I guess that's his 60s slang. This bird. But usually I think of calling, I don't know, females that? Whatever. Soy Teresa says, New Year, new me. And Cinderoni says, only soy.
Soy. Some people are allergic to soy. Put your head on my shoulder, I told him when he roused. You'll sleep better.
Sleeping.
He did, and pretty soon was sleeping more soundly. Aww.
So yeah, they pulled
They
over.
cuddled.
They're taking a sleep. They're, sleeping, and Joe John says,
Cuddling.
rest your head on my shoulder.
Rousing.
It's kind
Ooh.
of cute. I don't know. I'm not getting the sense that these are despicable, horrible people,
They're fun. They just have fun.
Yeah, they're funny. They're charming.
They knew how to get what they wanted. Sugar had moved around to rear fender and was leaning over it. I thought she'd go to sleep too. Jack was snoring on the running board, and I started to think about making a break for it. We were in a lane with a 4-strand barbed wire fence on each side.
Wow.
Man.
Okay. So he thinks he's going to make a run for it. You think he will?
Maybe if he's got that Soy Teresa athleticism.
Yeah, if he's as fast as Soy Teresa. Yeah, Soy
He
Teresa
does.
says he includes the weirdest details for some reason.
He's a real descriptive writer.
He is. He's living in a fantasy world. I'm sorry. I don't trust anything Joe John says. Hijuela. Absolutely.
I remember learning how that word was spelled blew my mind.
Here you go.
I decided I'd first try to get the door open. I kept moving my feet around and cleared my throat every so often, but no one moved or spoke.
So they're all, sleeping. It's kind of a fun hangout to me, I would think. But Joe Johns thinks he's going to make a run for it.
Oh, that bastard. What happened?
Hey.
Working quietly, I finally got the door open. Steadily, I got my jackknife out and opened the long blade. The edge was pretty sharp, and I decided to cut Bud's throat, then jump out the hightail it for the fence, over the fence, and then hide behind a tree or bush. But when I tried to really move my legs, I found they were just about paralyzed.
Wow. So suddenly his legs are paralyzed. What do you think that means?
They fell asleep. He was
That's
sitting too long.
exactly what I think. Like,
he had
all
bad
of a sudden
circulation.
your legs are miraculously out of nowhere.
He forgot to wear his compression socks that
Paralyzed?
day.
Exactly. To me, that reeks of too dramatic. Come on, Joe Johns. Your legs weren't paralyzed. They were just asleep. It happens to normal people all the time.
Yeah. Oh, what? I read that.
Okay.
I tried to convince myself that I could run, but each time I tried to move, pains shot through my legs. No, I thought, I'll have to wait, bide my time, and maybe I can get away easier later.
Yeah, maybe he'll have time to slit the throat of a sleeping man later. What the fuck? I mean, yeah, Bonnie and Clyde killed some people, but I don't think they slit the throats of sleeping people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's despicable that he would have even considered that. Wait, hang on. Shit, I lost my place. I hit the wrong button. Okay. Are we on this page?
Sheriff, do you have money to get back home? Jack asked. This was a complete surprise. I'd lost hope of ever seeing home again. You know, it'll take a couple of bucks, he went on, and you'll want to have yourself a good time in San Antonio.
Wow. So this is the bad criminal. He sounds kind of like a nice guy to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sugar and Bud, get out and hold your guns on him, Jack ordered. This may be a trick, I thought. Sugar and Bud got out, and I got out too. Jack stayed in the car and looked at me. Sheriff, you've caused us a hell of a lot of trouble, he told me, but we like you, and we're going to let you go.
Wow. Real sweethearts.
They liked him. They like
To me,
kinda got
that's their
attached.
biggest flaw.
They're really nice.
Absolutely. They wanted to like give him money and everything to get home, and they said, you know, since we're all the way out here, you should hang out in San Antonio for a while. I don't know. They're really sweet.
Yeah. For a second or two, I couldn't speak. Then I got control of my tongue and answered, Jack, you three have caused me a lot of trouble too. I'm in pretty bad shape. There's one thing I want to ask of you. How about taking the shells out of my gun so you know I can't use it and giving it to me? So you know
Wow.
I can't use it. and
I
giving it
wouldn't
to me.
trust him. I bet Joe
No.
Johns has hidden shells in his pocket or something like that. He's just itching to kill these people.
Yeah.
He's not sweet like they are.
Uh-uh. No soap, he said. We can use that gun, and besides, the first man you see will know you're an officer. Without the gun, nobody will believe you. I'll leave your belt and holster where we cross the Jackson Road. He handed me my Stetson and the keys to mine and Joe Combs' car, and then offered his hand. I shook it and turned and stepped away from the door. Sugar got back in the car, and Bud followed her. And just like that.
Oh, wait. Was there more?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were continuing.
No, it's just like that. They
Oh,
were
okay.
done. They were done.
Gotcha.
They yelled goodbye and drove off. I walked to the fence and leaned on a post and watched them for a half mile or more until they had turned to the east. That's the last time I ever saw them.
Wow. So,
Wow.
but didn't he start this story off by saying he read his death notice?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so at this point in the
Whoa.
story, I cut out I didn't clip a lot of the stuff, but basically he gets to town and he's in a sheriff's office and everything, and then somebody tells him this while he's hanging out in the sheriff's office.
Cinderoni said in the chat, I bet Johns was like telling them about how tired of his wife he is and how his job is so demanding and stuff. That's why they were like, hey man, take this money and spend some time, some me time in San Antonio. Get some rest and relaxation.
Right?
Yeah,
I
he
don't
was
know. They're
just,
sweethearts.
he was just venting the whole time.
So here's what happens at the station before he heads back to Carlsbad.
Hey, mister, he said, you're supposed to be dead. How come? It says so here in the paper. Look. Wow. The paper said my headless body had been reported found somewhere in the hills. It gave a full description of me, a regular death notice. I didn't expect to read my own obituary and can't say I was too pleased. I sure was glad to be alive to read it, though. Wow.
And I will tell you right now, This is a very long article. It was like
Yeah.
almost 2 whole pages. He never explains what the fuck the death notice was.
Yeah. Just I guess he meant his obituary.
Yeah, but why was his obituary in the paper when he wasn't dead? Like, who
who-
fucking said that his headless corpse was found?
And plus, who was that headless corpse that wasn't
Exactly. He
properly
never
identified?
explains what the- God damn it, Joe Johns.
It's probably some other murder that they were covering up by using his name.
Absolutely. And so that's all I have. And I just want to point out some things from that article.
Cinderoni says maybe Bonnie and Clyde sent that death notice, but Soy Teresa said crooked cop cover up, and then Cinderoni said because they were planning that.
Yeah. And Bonnie and Clyde wouldn't have had time to do that. They're on the road. They're like running, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know who put in an obituary death notice in the newspaper. That's really fucked. Anyway,
They were about serving justice. Like Clyde was raped, or he was in this prison, this brutal prison in Houston, and then I guess after he got out 3 years later, he did exact revenge on that prison.
yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, I don't know. He's kind of a in the right in a lot
just like a justice warrior.
Absolutely. And also real quick, I love this picture of Bonnie and Clyde that's
Yeah.
above your head.
Yeah.
That's a good one. They have so many
She's
good
nice.
photos.
She's got that hat always, huh?
Yeah.
That flapper style.
Okay. So here are things to note after finishing that article. One thing I didn't mention is that at 5 points in the story, Joe Johns mentions them getting flat tires. So they got 3 flat tires, and then 2 times they patched the tires up. And so yeah, they got 5 flat tires that whole time. He never explains what happened to the white cap or the little white cap that was put on his head or why it was put on there. There's no resolution to that story. And I went through and you can search. It's very neat. The newspapers.com archive where we do all this research. You can search words. So I searched legs to figure out, did I miss something with his paralyzed legs? No,
was
I've
paralyzed.
included everything that was ever mentioned about his legs. He never explains what it was. I think they were just asleep. I don't get it. I don't know. But that is the yeah, and Soy Teresa says I hope they let him keep it. Oh my god. I would love to see what the little white cap looked like.
I just keep picturing those little white caps they give you at Sherwin-Williams. Those painting caps.
Right. I just picture like a tiny white cowboy hat, like one for a baby on top of his huge head. That's the way I picture it because I don't know. Maybe it's funnier to me that way. And that is the story of the time that Bonnie and Clyde kidnapped the deputy sheriff of Carlsbad, New Mexico. And now
Joe Johns.
We're on our last index card. It's time to close out the show. And there is... Okay. This is something I really wanted to get to. I've been waiting, holding my breath. Hang on, let me get out my magnifying glass so I can see that I'm hitting the right button. Okay. Pepito, have you ever seen these?
No. They're cool. They look cool. They look like you could skate in them.
Oh, was that you doing the keys? Yeah. That's sick. That's nice. I like it. Good. But I have seen these shoes. They were advertised to me on Instagram, I'm sure. And I think it's because I'm a shoe guy. As is obvious, here are the boots I took off for this show. These are my custom snakeskin Nikes, and the tongues say Conda. So yeah, shoes are the piece of fashion I care most about. And so I have seen these. How would you pronounce that?
Fevu. Fevu.
Yeah, I don't know. But they are shoes that are used primarily for martial arts.
Oh.
And on Amazon, they are advertised as the shoes used by Shaolin monks.
Oh.
And I don't know. I mean, that's cool if so, but I mean, you can put anything on Amazon. You can't
Yeah.
you can't fully believe that, but
I can
they're
upsell
martial
anything.
arts shoes used by monks. And they're only $35. I might have to get a pair.
Unos $35.
And I'll tell you why I want to get a pair now.
Why?
The
You're
company
gonna start fighting?
well, eventually, yes.
Kanada's a
But-
kung fu fighter.
They are a real company and not an Amazon thing, says Soy Teresa. The reason I bring up those shoes, the reason they are relevant to Caveman News is the parent company that owns, however you pronounce that, Fouye, whatever, is a company called Dafu Rubber.
Dafu rubber. Oh, dangerous and fucked up rubber. Ooh.
Yeah, they're Dafu. For those who are not aware, Dafu is one of the slogans of this show. It's DAFU because we are the
Dangerous.
streaming world's most dangerous and fucked up
Fucked up.
show. So yeah, we got to get Dafu shoes.
We
Only
know
$35.
We know people with violence gangs. Soy Teresa said, okay, I guess people wear them for parkour. That makes sense. They look comfy and grippy and like shoes you can fly across buildings on. And Cinderoni said, is it because of the snake symbol on their shoes, Conda?
Ooh, I didn't even see that. Let me look.
I didn't see it either.
I don't see the snake, but it is the year of the snake, so that would make sense. But I absolutely have to get some
ew.
Dafu shoes.
A preface. I love a good preface. Soy Teresa quoted B. Christine Baskets by saying, I'm not even going to try to say that.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. I'm telling Pepito, Soy Teresa has gotten me hooked on Baskets. I love that show. I had never seen it and I was missing out. It's one of the best shows. Highly recommended if
Chip.
you're into that. Do you have any recommendations you would like to make?
For what? Like clothes or shoes or
Or
what?
whatever, man.
Hit up your local Goodwill. You might find a really cheap cashmere sweater like I did.
Oh yeah, hang on. Let's go. Let's go.
It was like $4.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Boom.
I never
That
thought
is
I would
sick.
own one.
Well, you do now.
I do. I am now a proud owner of cashmere for $4.
Soy Teresa says, I went today, I go every day. And she does. She goes to Goodwill all the time. Oh wait, why is the theme playing again? I didn't want that yet. Okay. Real quick. Let me see if I can hear. Where is Cobra?
Cobra.
It is.
C-O-B-R-A. C-O-B-R-A.
That's him. Okay. Pepito, thank you very much. This has been a fun show.
Yeah,
It's
was.
always fun. It's always a good time.
Isn't Bonnie and Clyde the coolest? I'm glad we didn't have to talk about their final demise. That was sad.
But that's not Carlsbad relevant. So
Yeah, we're on the
we
Joe
only
Johns.
talk about celebrate their funny hot dog quips and
Go to hell.
putting little white caps on sheriffs. I'm obsessed with the little white hat. I'm very into it.
Yeah.
Now it's time to announce what the topic for next week is. Do you have a topic that you would like to do?
Oh man. Wait, we did surveys once, didn't we?
Yes.
Oh, census. We could do fudge. Snow cones. I don't know.
I don't know if there's any Carlsbad specific snow cone stories that I know.
River. I don't know. What did you already have a topic for next week, or are you trying to get one?
Well, I have one in mind.
Oh.
I'm not gonna not plan ahead, but if you had a suggestion, or if anybody in the chat anywhere ever has a suggestion, like, oh, I wish Caveman News would cover this, it'd be
I know.
very open to it. But I have an idea for a topic.
Yeah.
And we used to do the hangman game. We did that for a while. That was pretty fun, don't you think?
Yes.
But since we talked about Carlsbad's first legal execution when James Barrett was hung by that dastardly sheriff, David Kemp.
He was hung and then rehung.
Exactly. I don't feel comfortable playing the hangman game anymore because it's disrespectful to Barrett.
We have so many loved ones who have died that way.
Exactly. So another game I thought of. I have an idea for a topic for next week. And if it was in the dictionary, it is in the dictionary. It would be between the words abacus and botulism.
What? That's like a lot of words.
Yeah. Do you have a guess?
Anthropomorph. I can't say it now.
Anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphism.
Very close. Next week, we're going to be talking about animals.
Oh,
good
fur babies.
For sure. I already know of 3 good stories to bring up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Papito, we should close this out and play our new credits.
Ooh la la.
You ready to jam it?
I think Brother Binks left.
Well, we took too long.
You're missing your name.
All right, let's jam this out and play the new credits. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, have a good night. Stay safe. Have fun. Woo.
Hey Caveman News, it's your... Hey Caveman News, it's your astrologer.